In the dense, fog-shrouded forests of the Pacific Northwest, Eric Hunter, a cunning and resourceful adventurer, stood frozen, his sharp eyes locked on a striking young man riding a sleek Arabian horse. The rider, dressed in tattered but once luxurious clothing, wore a battered crown that hinted at royalty. His face was pale, lips cracked, and his body bore the scars of a brutal journey, cuts and bruises crisscrossing his skin. He looked like he'd been through hell. Exhausted and desperate, Eric had been hiking through the wilderness for his morning recon, a habit from his days as a rogue operative. Feeling weary, he'd leaned against a gnarled oak to catch his breath. Barely a moment had passed when the distant sound of hoofbeats snapped him alert. Peering through the trees, he spotted the rider approaching, the horse moving sluggishly, as if it shared its master's exhaustion. Eric stood, brushing dirt off his jacket, as the rider locked eyes with him and guided the horse closer. The young man's face was ghostly pale, his lips parched, but a spark of hope flickered in his eyes upon seeing Eric. Before Eric could speak, the rider swayed and collapsed from the saddle, hitting the ground hard. "Whoa, easy there," Eric shouted, rushing forward. The young man groaned, his voice faint as he rasped, "Water, please, water." "Got you covered, Tal," Eric replied, pulling a canteen from his high-tech backpack, a gadget that could produce just about anything. He knelt beside the stranger, tilting the canteen to his lips. The young man drank greedily, as if he hadn't tasted water in days. Half the canteen was gone before he stopped, his face regaining some color. "Slow down, buddy. You're safe now," Eric said, capping the canteen. "Thanks. You're a lifesaver," the young man croaked, pushing the canteen away and sitting up shakily. "Got anything to eat? I haven't eaten in 4 days." Eric nodded, rummaging through his backpack to produce a pack of trail mix, nuts, dried fruit, and chocolate. The young man's eyes lit up, and he tore into it like a starved wolf. His horse, meanwhile, wandered off to nibble on some grass. "You don't strike me as a regular hiker," Eric said, eyeing the crown. "If I had to guess, you're some kind of prince, right?" The young man nodded, still chewing. "I'm Prince Brandon, heir to the Cameron Corporation, from the East Coast." "Cameron Corp? That's thousands of miles from here," Eric said, raising an eyebrow. "What's a big-shot prince doing in this nowhere forest, looking like you just escaped a war zone?" Brandon paused, sizing Eric up. "First, who are you, and why are you out here in this creeping wilderness?" "I'm Eric Hunter, just a guy from Seattle passing through to Portland. Got tired, stopped to rest," Eric said smoothly, dodging the full truth. His horse, tethered nearby, was grazing lazily. "Portland's a long haul from here," Brandon said, skeptical. "You walking?" "Nah, got my ride." Eric gestured toward his horse. "So what's your deal?" Brandon's eyes narrowed. "Wait, Eric Hunter? The Eric Hunter?" He jolted upright, as if stung. "No way! You can't be that Eric Hunter." Eric smirked. "Why's that? What's so shocking about my name?" "I'm looking for Eric Hunter, the guy they call the Shadow Trickster, the bane of warlocks and mercenaries, the right-hand man of Commander Hamilton. You're telling me that's you?" Brandon's voice was laced with disbelief. Eric leaned back, amused. "And why can't I be that guy?" "Because the Eric Hunter I'm looking for is a legend. He's taken down cartels, sorcerers, you name it. You're just some scrappy dude in a forest," Brandon said, gesturing at Eric's lean frame. Eric chuckled. "Looks can deceive, my friend. But let's say I am that Eric Hunter. Why are you looking for me?" Brandon hesitated, then reached into a pouch at his side, pulling out 3 shimmering red pearls. "These are for you. I was told to find Eric Hunter and give him these. You saved my life with food and water, so I'm giving you these as thanks. But I've got 7 more, and those are for the real Eric Hunter. I need him for a job." Eric's eyes widened as he snatched the pearls, inspecting them closely. These are Crimson Orbs, rarest gems in the world, worth a fortune. He looked at Brandon, intrigued. You're carrying 10 of these? For me? Yeah, Brandon said, tucking the pouch away. I was told to deliver them to Eric Hunter to get his help. If you're not him, I'll keep moving. Eric grinned. What if I told you I am the Eric Hunter you're looking for? Brandon laughed, unconvinced. No way. The guy I need is a beast, a towering, ripped warrior, not some wiry forest wanderer. Eric's grin widened. Let's make a deal. If I prove I'm your guy, you hand over the rest of those orbs. Sound fair? Brandon scoffed. Prove it. Then, Eric stepped away, disappearing behind a thicket. Moments later, he returned, his demeanor sharper, more commanding. You came here because of Princess Natalie, didn't you? He said, his voice low. Brandon froze, his jaw dropping. How do you know about Natalie? Eric's eyes gleamed. I know a lot, Prince Brandon. You and Natalie, your wife, were vacationing in the lush valleys of upstate New York. You were riding horses through an estate when her horse spooked and bolted. You chased after her, but it was too fast. It carried her across a field and out of sight. You kept searching, riding through plains and forests until you met an old hermit living in a cabin. He told you Natalie's horse was bewitched by a warlock named Zander, who lives in the Blue Ridge Mountains, in a place called the Valley of Giants. Zander's got Natalie locked in his black citadel, tormenting her, trying to force her to marry him. The hermit gave you those Crimson Orbs and told you to find me, Eric Hunter, Commander Hamilton's top operative. Only I can take down Zander and save Natalie. That about right? Brandon was speechless, his eyes wide with shock. That's exactly what happened. How do you know all this? Are you a warlock? Nope, Eric said, tapping his temple. Just good at my job. The hermit sent you to me because I'm the best at taking down creeps like Zander. Those orbs? They're not just shiny trinkets. They're the key to stopping him and his goons. Now hand over the rest. Brandon, still reeling, pulled out the pouch and gave Eric the remaining 7 orbs. Okay, you're him. I believe you. But how? No more questions, Eric cut him off. Go to Commander Hamilton's base camp. Tell him everything. He'll keep you safe until I bring Natalie back. Got it? Brandon nodded, mounting his horse and riding off toward the base. Eric waited until he was gone, then opened his backpack. Guardian, come out, he called. A small, shimmering figure, a high-tech drone in the shape of a sprite, emerged, hovering before him. Orders, boss, the drone chirped. The hermit's intel checks out, Eric said, holding up the orbs. Zander's in the Valley of Giants, holding Natalie hostage. He's a ruthless warlock who's been sacrificing people to his giant minions to boost his power. These orbs are our weapon. The hermit's golden tablet gave me the playbook. I can use them to destroy Zander's giants and take him down. Get me to the valley. The drone whirred, and in a flash, Eric felt the ground vanish beneath him. He stumbled, but landed on solid earth, opening his eyes to find himself in a vast, eerie valley, surrounded by jagged blue mountains. A massive black citadel loomed ahead, its spiral staircase leading to a towering gate. Nearby, a pile of boulders glowed with eerie yellow eyes, watching him like living stone. Before Eric could move, the sky darkened, and a monstrous black giant emerged from the clouds, its mouth spewing flames. Intruder, it roared, unleashing a torrent of fire. Eric dove aside, the flames scorching the ground where he'd stood. He grabbed a sleek spear from his backpack, enchanted with anti-magic runes, and hurled it at the giant's gaping maw. The spear struck true, and with a deafening boom, the creature dissolved into smoke. From the citadel's staircase, a cloaked figure, Zander, screamed. "No, my guardian, stone giants, awaken, crush this fool." The boulders shuddered, transforming into massive stone giants with glowing yellow eyes. They charged, roaring like thunder. Eric pulled the pouch of Crimson Orbs, hurling them with precision. Each orb struck a giant's head, exploding in a flash of red light. One by one, the giants crumbled into dust, their eerie wails echoing through the valley. Zander, enraged, leaped from the staircase, conjuring a massive, jagged sword from thin air. "You'll pay for that, Hunter," he snarled, launching a barrage of magical bolts. Eric's enchanted ring, a talisman from the hermit, deflected the spells, leaving Zander stunned. Eric drew his own blade, a high-tech katana infused with anti-magic tech, and the two clashed in a furious duel. Zander fought like a man possessed, his sword swinging with brutal force. But Eric was faster, dodging and weaving, his blade a blur. Seizing an opening, Eric struck, slicing through Zander's defenses. With a final, precise strike, he severed the Warlock's head. As Zander's body collapsed, blood pooling, the citadel began to crumble, its dark magic unraveling. Amid the rubble, Eric spotted a young woman, Princess Natalie, shaken but unharmed. Nearby, a dusty chest caught his eye. He pried it open, revealing a hoard of Crimson Orbs, identical to the ones Brandon gave him. "Jackpot," Eric muttered, scooping them into his backpack as the drone hummed approvingly. Turning to Natalie, he explained everything: her rescue, Zander's defeat, and Brandon's safety. "Thank you," she said, tears of relief in her eyes. "I thought I was done for." Eric activated his backpack's teleportation feature, and in a flash, they were gone, reappearing at Commander Hamilton's base, where Brandon waited. The reunion was heartfelt, and Eric, ever the rogue, slipped away, ready for his next mission.